Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MKUltra show. I am, as always, your host, Carter M. Nelson. Here for another big show. Excited to be back with you guys on Friday. That's awesome. Who doesn't love Friday? Yeah, we're back again. Today's main story is going to be the Nick Fuentes Hunter Biden interview. I'm going to be honest with you guys, nothing happened today. Not a single thing in the news worth covering. I mean, we have a little bit more drama going on over in Iran, but we've talked about that just about every single show for the last 2 weeks, kind of over it. I just wanted more of a laid back Friday on this one. So it's going to be a shorter show, but still a good one, still a big one. Stick around to see a good solid breakdown of everything that happened with the groundbreaking interview with Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden. Before I get into that, please like and subscribe. It greatly helps out the show. It allows us to spread our voice and helps me able to keep doing this because, I'd like before I go off to college to, be able to make some money on this so that I can do it consistently. That would be awesome. So I appreciate all of your support. But before I get too off track, like I said, a shorter one, but it'll be a good one. So the Nick Fuentes Hunter Biden interview, it took place earlier today. It's been hyped up for about a week now. It's been all over the internet. Twitter's been going crazy about it. It was the thing that was happening. It's what we've all been waiting for. I mean, who doesn't want to see Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden go at it? That is just such an insane concept. And can we just talk about how crazy this would have been in like 2020? This would have been unheard of, and that's something we're going to get to later on. But it's honestly groundbreaking that something like this even happens. Like, honestly, I cannot believe it. But so that took place earlier today, and I fully expect it's going to take over the internet. 3 hours in, last time I checked, it was over 300,000 views already. It's going to blow up. That is going to be absolutely huge, which is great. And honestly, that leads us straight into the first talking point, which is radicalization. It's becoming normalized. And this plays on to what I was just saying of this would have been unheard of back in 2020. I remember when I was first getting into politics. It was about the 2019, early 2020 era of things. And that's around the time I started my first YouTube channel as well, MKUltra Conservative. Go check that out. But yeah, so this sort of thing, it was unheard of. This was the age of censorship. You could not say anything radical. The idea of Nick Fuentes being on the internet in 2020, the idea of him being allowed on YouTube is insane, right? I mean, there was a period of time, I think in 2020 he wasn't completely banned. I believe his YouTube was, but he could still come onto shows occasionally. But by the end of that year and going into 2021 and all that, you couldn't even find him. Like, people couldn't interview him on YouTube. He was completely banned. The name Nick Fuentes was banned. You couldn't say it. So that's an incredible shift in the circle, right? In the political atmosphere. This is totally new. Radicalization is becoming normalized. The Overton window is shifting. It's becoming more acceptable to be like Nick, and that's what makes everything he's done since 2019. What was it, 2017 that he started? Since 2017, everything's changing, and that's what makes everything he did so important. What Nick Fuentes did was he opened the door for the Overton window to begin shifting. He started saying things that you weren't allowed to say and started pointing out how wrong it was that you weren't allowed to say it. And that was a big deal. It started opening eyes. And now we've moved far enough where a lot of the extremists on both sides, it's more extreme rhetoric than anything Nick was saying. There was a time where Nick was the most far right voice, and this is something they talked about on the interview. All of a sudden, there are normies who are speaking further right from Nick Fuentes. And that is a crazy development. And that's what's allowed for Nick to start being able to be interviewed on YouTube again. He isn't completely face banned. 1 second, guys. Buddy, I'm in the middle of the show. You gotta go. What? Alright. Give me like half an hour. That's why I got my iPad. What, bud? Like a minute. Nice. Please shut the door. Brad, I can play well on income. Yeah. Alright, shut the door, bud. Sorry about that. That was my little brother. Super, super sweet kid. Super sweet kid. Hey, yo, what's up, Broken? Good to see you, man. Good to see you made it into the stream. Um, yeah, but as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by my little brother there. Sweet kid. Love him to death. But everything that Nick did, it geared up for the Overton window to be able to begin shifting. That's why it's possible for him to be visible on YouTube again. That's why we can have an interview with him and Hunter Biden, something that was completely unheard of during the age of censorship. The censoring of Nick Fuentes showed enough people that, hey, maybe we should allow for these voices to be heard. And so that censorship ended up causing people to go so far to the other extremes that it made Nick a voice that it was like, okay, maybe we can listen to this guy. Maybe he should be allowed on the internet. Maybe a complete permaban of somebody, maybe removing him from every platform just proves that his ideas have some merit. So they're kind of playing the opposite game now. But all in all, it just shows that him working through his bans, him growing an audience despite being taken down everywhere, it was totally worth it because now it's been normalized. Just the idea of Hunter Biden and Nick Fuentes talking is just, it's unbelievable still. I mean, Nick Fuentes went from the corners of the internet, if we remember the Cozy TV days, complete corners of the internet, and now all of a sudden, he's talking to the crackhead son of Joe Biden, the son who was the biggest story during the 2020 election and was a major story all the way through 2024. So that's just huge. That's huge that we've gotten to this point. So that just shows a major shift. Also, another point I wanted to highlight. Excuse me. I feel like I need to sneeze. That's rough. Wow, that's bad. Excuse me. But yeah, so the next point I wanted to highlight was the generational gap on the view of the Holocaust. Right? This is something major, and this is a big reason why it's like, man, we can't really win anything until this older generation is gone. And I hate to say it, it's not like, oh man, I want them to be gone sooner, but it's like, man, I want them to be gone sooner, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, there's this massive generational gap. So Nick Fuentes, he's made his jokes about the Holocaust. He said, "Hey, maybe everything we've been told isn't totally accurate, right?" And for YouTube's purposes, I'm not agreeing with his statements. I'm purely saying this from somebody dissecting who he is and what he says. Don't take me at my word for this. But yeah, so there was a point in the interview where Hunter Biden is talking to Nick, and he's saying, well, it was really hurtful what you said, and I just think you should rescind some of those statements. And he reaches over and he puts his hand on Nick's leg, and it's like, what the hell, man? He's doing like this older grandfather type thing, reaching over, oh, Sonny, you're going down a bad path, going down a dark path that I can't follow. But yeah. And then he says, "My wife is Jewish." And Nick is just he starts laughing and it's such an unbelievable moment. "My wife is Jewish. You shouldn't say these things." It's like, "Well, all right, bro. All right." But it's just this massive difference in view because Hunter's whole point was that this generational trauma is real. It needs to be taken seriously. While on the other hand, Nick saying, well, it was almost a century ago now. Maybe, just maybe, we should be allowed to talk about, oh, I don't know, concepts like tiny hat supremacy without having to be told, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, you're a Holocaust denier. And when you push the idea that, hey, any criticism of this group is Holocaust denial, well, guess what? You're going to have people who make jokes about it. That's how you change the Overton window. That's how you do what Nick's job is, which is radicalizing the youth. That is the goal of everything he's doing. You don't think it's somewhat calculated? Hey, guess what? Even his funny moments, he thinks about those. He thinks about the effect they'll have. And maybe he says some things that aren't the best, but it's a plan. It's a plan to shift the way we talk about things, the plan to shift our views on the world. But it's clear that Hunter just can't get that. He cannot understand where Nick's coming from. And so there's just this really, really drastic gap of viewpoint in the way they and the way they perceive the world between Nick and Hunter throughout it. And it was so funny just seeing Hunter trying to take like the grandfather stance. Son, I just can't see you don't doing this anymore. It's wrong. You're hurting people. And Nick's like this rebellious teenager just laughing at him. It's like, yeah, that was a great moment. And that actually transitions us well into the next point I wanted to make. The final point is it also highlights the liberalized empathetic view that liberals have taken. And this is something that we've talked about a lot recently on the show. And it's just this inability to put any self-preservation in mind. Hunter's talking about, oh, well, what do you mean have a white community? The only reason that all these different races have their own communities is because you segregated them. Us whites, we segregated them. It's like, well, that's just an improper understanding of it. Well, they came in here, they do commit high rates of crime, they do have a drastically different culture. And when Nick says, hey, I don't want to live around them, I would prefer to live around people of my culture, that feels like a reasonable statement. You know, there's a reason everybody wants to live in wealthy communities. There's only one group of people in most of these wealthy communities, and guess what? They're not committing the crimes. They're not the ones doing it. So, yeah, I mean, they just don't have any level of self-preservation. The liberals of the world, it's a suicidal ideology. Truly, truly a suicidal ideology. It's we will pander and pander and pander endlessly to try to prove that we're empathetic of you. We will pander to say, look, we care about you. We will give up our rights. We will give up our speech to ensure that you feel safe. And this is why they feel uncomfortable even talking about the Holocaust. They're afraid of making somebody else uncomfortable. It's like, if we're not able to have uncomfortable conversations, then how can we ever make change? How can we ever make this a little bit better of a place? Look, you're free to disagree, but the problem is when you decide we need to shut people up for it. The problem is when we need to censor their speech. The problem is when we call somebody racist for pointing out crime statistics, for pointing out how our communities have been dissolving over the last century. When we point out that hey, 100 years ago whites made up 30% of the population, now they make up 8%. It's kind of survival time, and they'll call you a racist for that, and that's just ridiculous. We need to have some level of self-preservation. But the liberals just won't understand this. This is why Hunter's saying, "Oh, I support Gavin Newsom totally." It's like, well, look, this guy is going to continue to degrade your culture. They're totally okay with that. Totally okay with that. Just for just for what? To show that, hey, I'm not a racist, I'm on your team. Well, guess what? They're going to call you a racist either way. You're white. You know, the most extreme liberals, they say you're racist by existing as a white person because you feed into white privilege. It's like, if they're going to call me racist either way, I might as well act in the way that preserves my identity, preserves my people. Guess what? I like our culture. And Hunter goes at Nick at one point during the interview. He goes, what even is white culture? And Nick starts listing off, we have Rome. We have Napoleon. We have all these great things. There's a lot of great things in white culture. I mean, the entire Renaissance period, it's all white culture. By the way, the two things I said, I don't believe Nick directly quoted either of those two specifically. He had his own list. But still, we have the Renaissance, we have Rome, we have the greatest civilizations ever, the Industrial Revolution. I mean, white culture is everywhere. The reason that people don't see white culture is because it's just everywhere, right? Like they're like, "Oh, that's just humanity. That's just normal culture." It's like, well, that only exists because of the hard work of the Europeans. So, what's water, some fish. So true. So true. By the time you have children, the number will be 10 million. Yeah, yeah, that's the issue, man. It's like, hey, we built the greatest culture ever. We built beautiful societies, and maybe we want to preserve those things. Maybe I want my children to look like me. Is that so bad? If a black guy says, hey, I want my children to be black, nobody's going to call him a racist, and I don't think anybody should. If an Asian says, and here's the thing about like you look at any other culture, let's look at the Asians. The Japanese don't even like the Chinese. The Japanese will say, I want Japanese children. I don't want Chinese children. And that's considered acceptable because it's a different culture. But when whites do it, it's racist. And that's why they pump on our media all the different mixed race marriages. Every relationship you see on mainstream TV, look, they're almost always mixed. How many of them are a white dude with a black girl? Or the inverse of that? It's like, why can't we ever just like have our people, have our culture? I think that's an acceptable thing to have. So that's mighty, mighty unfortunate. That's something I would like to push for, the reacceptance of, hey, being white is kind of cool. Hey, we built Rome. Hey, ancient Greece, that was kind of fucking cool. Sparta, hell yeah. Sparta was kind of gay actually, but still, I mean the warrior stuff, the warrior parts of it were cool, not the gay parts. Um, Not the gay parts, but yeah, like, there's so many amazing aspects. Even Paris, we built the Eiffel Tower. You're gonna tell me that's not beautiful? Michelangelo, beautiful work, beautiful work. Well, art. Art is such an intrinsic part of white culture. We have an amazing artistic style. I think that's beautiful. What ancient civilization was your favorite? It's gotta be Rome, man. It's gotta be Rome. It's the starter of like the modernization of society. They built things that were never done before. They created systems that were never heard of. They made it work and they did it to such an amazing extent. They conquered the entire Mediterranean. That's incredible. That's white culture. We are Rome, you know? And it's funny, you hear the Jews, they're like, "Oh, we're still around. We're the Romans." You're looking at them, motherfucker. You're looking at them. Yeah, yeah, you're looking at them. This is Rome. You are Rome. We can build it again. We built it once. Let's do it again. That's amazing. Look at what Napoleon did. He conquered all the way to Russia. That's white culture. It's the desire to learn, the desire to grow, the desire to expand, make something beautiful again, make something great, take something that nobody's been willing to do and go for it. The discovery of the Americas, that's white culture. Sailing across the entire Atlantic Ocean as Columbus did. That is white culture. That is what we do best. We do something that they tell us is impossible, and we say, fuck you, and we do it anyways. Why do you think we have punk rock? And why do you think alt rock is all white dudes? Because people tell us we can't do something, and you know what we respond with? Fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyways. You can't stop me. I'm going to do it because I'm gonna work my ass off until I do it. I'm going to go from Paris to Moscow. I'm going to start from Rome and conquer the entire Mediterranean. Hell yeah. Tell me again I can't do it. No, fuck you. We do it anyways. We conquer. We build great things. They say, "Hey, you can't just build whatever you want. You can't make these giant skyscrapers," and we do it. Why would you even build the Eiffel Tower? What purpose does it have? Because it's beautiful, because we can. That's beauty. That's Americanism. That's Europeanism. That's the epitome of whiteness. That's something special, and that's something worth holding on to. So when Hunter Biden asked Nick Fuentes what even is white culture, what do you want to preserve? It's that. It's the desire to become better. It's the desire to be like, hey, we're in a good spot. Let's get better. Let's push for more. Let's fight. Let's fight our asses off until we conquer Moscow, until we build the Eiffel Tower, until we build the Statue of Liberty just because we can. Hey, why do you carve your president's heads into a giant mountain? Because we can, because it's something different, because it's something beautiful, because we love our past, we love our history. That's Americanism. And that's the culture that we want to preserve. The fight to do more. The urge to become something better. The urge to do what they say is impossible. Landing on the fucking moon. People will say, "Oh, we didn't land on the moon." You know what? Maybe we didn't, maybe we did. But hell, man, we landed on the fucking moon. You know why? Because that's amazing propaganda. I don't care if it happened. We landed on the moon because they said we couldn't. Hell yeah. What's your favorite president? I mean, JFK is an obvious answer, one of the few presidents to actually fight back against the Israeli lobby, one of the few presidents to fight against the CIA. Um, yeah, I just think JFK had an immense amount of courage. I don't agree with a lot of the things he did. JFK was actually a very liberal president, but I admire the courage. And that's why they killed him. I admire the courage. Is it because he didn't kiss the wall? I mean, yeah. I mean, he didn't. And why didn't he? Because he had courage. He believed that we were standing up for America first. He fought against the CIA, fought against the FBI because he didn't believe everything they were doing was in America's best interest. That's courage. That's standing up for what you believe in. That's exactly the culture we've been outlining this whole time. The courage to do something, the courage to be more. That's wonderful. That's beauty. I mean, they look at whiteness and they're like, "Oh, you love your people because you want to put down everybody else." No, no, not at all. Not even in the littlest bit. I think they should all be proud of their heritage too. I just think my heritage is fucking awesome. I just happen to think, hey, our people did something amazing and built something beautiful, and I don't want that stripped away. It's never been about putting other people down. But to answer your correct question, I'd probably have to go with like JFK. I mean, obviously, like Washington's up there. Amazing, amazing guy. His story's incredible. Um, Side of presidents, we also have like Hamilton. Love Hamilton. He had a lot of really, really great ideas. It's too bad Aaron Burr had to take him out like that. Fuck Aaron Burr. I hate that guy. I don't know anything about Aaron Burr outside of he killed Hamilton and was the vice president, but fuck him for killing Hamilton. So yeah, yeah. But man, that was a beautiful rant. I just have to say. I feel amped up. I was exhausted at the beginning of this stream. There's something in the air. I was so tired. I've been worn down. There was nothing in the news. I didn't really know what to talk about, but man, that got me amped. That got me amped. That got me want to, keep working, keep pushing harder. Because everybody who says this isn't going to work, guess what? I'm going to make it work. Because that's what my ancestors would have done. Because when they told Napoleon he couldn't, he did. When they told Alexander the Great he had conquered enough, he conquered more. And guess what? It was that confidence and that push that made people want to follow those great men. That's our culture. That's our history. But, and that's just why it's so exciting to see that an interview like the Hunter Biden Fuentes interview can happen again. It's so exciting and invigorating. It's just so much because it's like, man, everybody told Nick he couldn't. Everybody said it's never gonna work. They banned him off of everything. They put him on no-fly lists. They shut down his bank accounts. They froze his money. And guess what? He pushed on. And he pushed on until the point where he is having an interview with the former president's son, who was the biggest story from 2019 until 2024. That's huge. That's monumental. That's fight. That's courage. What I employ all of you to have above just like, this political stuff. It's just have courage in everything you do. Everything you do. I don't give a shit if it's politics. If that's not your thing, then fuck it. Find what is your thing and have courage and fight hard. Fight your ass off with that courage. Never surrender. Oh, Hunter Biden needs to go to fucking jail. Yeah, probably true. Probably true. But he won't because he's the son of a former president. And the whole game in politics is you award your friends and you punish your enemies. And unfortunately, the Republicans are terrible at that game. And instead of rewarding our friends and punishing our enemies, we actually do the opposite. Like Joe Biden gave his son a presidential pardon, and that's what keeps him out of jail. While on the other side, instead of Trump going after Hillary or either of the Clintons, going after any of the Epstein class, going after Hunter Biden, you know what he does instead? He allows for the UK to throw Andrew Tate in jail. That's the situation we're going to have there. He's going to have Andrew Tate extradited, and he's not going to do anything about it. He's punishing his friends. What happened under the Trump administration? Charlie Kirk gets shot. The Tates are going to jail. I mean, it's cooked. We're in war with Iran on behalf of Israel. It's terrible. It's terrible. Hunter was chill, to be honest. I mean, obviously he should. never have institutional power or anything, but friendlier than Candace. Hunter was super chill on the interview. Yeah, I mean, when you see that side of him, you see it like he's definitely just a dude. Like he is just a guy. I don't think he's has almost any political involvement with his father. Like he does not talk like a political person at all, and he clearly has no political aspirations. And I'd be shocked if he ever tried. Honestly, I think he's just a dude. He should be locked up for like committing crime and he shouldn't get out of it because his daddy was president. But yeah, yeah, he was a pretty chill dude. Are you mad or afraid of the Jews after what they did with the Titanic? I mean, it's gay that they destroyed our entire economic system by potentially. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. I don't know what happened. YouTube, I'm not making any claims. This is clearly a historical analysis. Did they sink the Titanic? Maybe they did. It's did they sink the Titanic? Yeah, yeah. Did it happen that when the Titanic sunk, there were a lot of people on that boat who wanted to, oh, I don't know, maybe fight against the federal bank, who weren't in favor of that, and magically they all die before they get to America, where they're going to have the conversation where they're going to oppose us having a federal bank? Maybe there's something there. So I mean, it's just like it's widespread. It's just these. It essentially what you have is it's not even just a race thing. It's like a clan thing where a group of people have grouped together and they have said we're going to do everything we can to keep ourselves in power, and that's how you play politics. That's how you play the game, and they're better at it than anybody else. So it's like honestly, part of me respects them. I'm like, man, you guys do it right. You guys get it, but simultaneously, it's like but you're on the other team. I'm not on your team. So I can't actually like you. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. And it's everywhere. I mean, the creation of feminism, the Titanic, the Twin Towers, the USS Liberty, JFK. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. You just have to look a little bit. I don't think fear would be the proper response because fear is the most de-radicalizing agent. To an extent, brother. So here's the thing with fear. It depends on what type of fear. A cowardice fear, absolutely. If it's like an angry fear that pushes you, maybe it's the right response. I don't know. I'm not a very fearful person, to be honest. If I was, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing this at all. But yeah, I would agree. I would generally agree. I mean, I think for some people it works. It just depends on how you employ fear, but I don't know. The game is just such like a joke to me at the moment, and I'm like a young revolutionary mind who like is still learning to take things more seriously. Where it's like I don't even know how to feel fear yet because it's like I'm still in that young I'll live forever age. So it's like I'll do anything. So yeah. Well, I agree. I agree. But yeah, yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I'm gonna start wrapping up this stream. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. I will keep it running for a couple of minutes. We'll do a quick outline of everything we talked about. I guess it was just the Hunter Biden Nick Fuentes interview tonight. Usually at the end of these shows, I have like three different stories I covered, and then we have like a long outro that I get to break down everything, put it in like a minute form. But today's show was so short. The news is so dry, and unfortunately, I expect it to be dry again next month, just because Congress is going into their August recess. So there's just going to be nothing happening. I don't know. Maybe something blows up with Iran. Maybe some crazy event happens. We'll be able to follow the Fishback trial at the start of next week. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully he stays on the ballot. I would be very, very upset if he doesn't. How should I act on my friend who likes Jews? Do I stay friends with him or confront him? Dog. Dog. Bro, you fucking like Jews. That big of a deal. Dude, if you don't make politics every like well, you can like joke about it with him, but are you gonna go fight him over liking Jews? No, it's stay friends with him. And unless he's like unless he's like contributing to something fucked up, if he's like just a good dude who just doesn't have an issue with Jews, just leave it. Man, it's not that big of a deal. Not everybody is gonna be political. You can just like be chill with people who disagree. It's only a problem if he's Jewish. Uh, look up, he's a liberal also, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, yeah, I mean, like, there's gonna be people who disagree with you, and if they're not political and they're not like going at you politically, just leave it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Life is better when you can just like have friends on the opposite side of the spectrum. Just don't be political with those people. Yeah, it's something important is know who you can and can't be political with. That's the game. That's part of the game. And there's some people you can, there's some people you can't. And the people you can't, you leave it, you know? It's not that big of a deal. Unless you want to be a very political person, just leave it. Like I'm a little bit overly political. Absolutely, you know. In all my relationships, I'm sure everybody would say, oh, he's a decently political guy. He talks about it a lot. He jokes about it a lot. But I don't know, time and place, you know. Yeah, just stay friends with it. So look up Cecil Rhodes and Edward Bernays will do. Let's see. Let's see. Have you heard of Cetera? It's pretty useful for learning geography. I have not. I'll look into that. He tried fighting back after I joked, and it's just very funny. Yeah, see, that's the move. That's completely the move. Dude, just fuck with it, man. Just fuck with it. Enjoy it. Just fuck around. Just don't take it too seriously. Let's see. Edward Bernays is credited with promoting Ivory Soap for Procter and Gamble. This was a significant campaign developed by Bernays for the American Tobacco Company. Bernays organized this major event celebrating Thomas Edison's invention for General Electric. Cecil Rhodes was a historical figure involved with diamonds, especially linking them to rarity and love through De Beers. However, this specific campaign is not attributed to Edward L. Bernays' public relations efforts. Let's see. Is there anything specific I should be looking for? Because, let's see. Okay. You know, I really wish I could copy and paste anything. That would make this way easier. Okay, so Cecil Rhodes, yeah, you got it. Politician in South Africa, Prime Minister of the Cape Cod Colony. Dude, everything with South Africa is so fucked up. The way that they just like, genocided the whites out of there. Yeah, that's fucking evil. Yeah. I'll finish looking at this off stream, so there's not just a bunch of me being silent, because I can't imagine that's that fun. So yeah, yeah. Torches of Freedom, Bernays' father of public manipulation. Okay, okay. I see what you're talking about. That's interesting. Okay, that's really interesting. To manipulate the unconscious desires of the masses. Yeah, yeah. That's That's the whole game, man. That's the whole game. Manipulating the unconscious, and that's why psychology is so important in politics. It's so crucial. Same with like why so much legal speak is important. It's about convincing people of things that they don't even realize you're convincing them of at the time. It's the game, man. And that's why it's so important for all of you listening. I'm gonna leave you with this advice. There's nothing more important you can do for your life than understand your subconscious. There's an idea of shadow work, where essentially you just spend the time where you have a thought of something. Instead of just acting on that thought, what you need to be doing with everything you think of, you have that thought. Think about why you perceive whatever caused that thought in the way you do. So you have a thought, figure out what caused the thought. Think about what caused you to perceive the thought the way you did. Think about where that perception comes from. And once you start getting good at tracing your inner dialogue, once you start to put all of that together, you get to a point where you can start doing that with other people as well. And that's where his manipulation tactics come from. But if you just have a deep understanding of your own subconscious, you can really protect your mind from a lot of these manipulation games. It allows you to really get out of it, the game a little bit. I appreciate it. The Rome part was aura. Hell yeah. I'd like to say so. I'd like to say so. I'm going for the aura. It's all about the aura. It always is, right? We got to have an auraful magnet. Always, always. This is why we have all the motion. All the motion is over here. All of it. Nobody can deny this. We have straight motion. It's peak. Nobody can take down my motion. Hell yeah. But I appreciate all of you guys watching. I'm going to start wrapping up the stream now. I will certainly look more into Cecil Rhodes, Edward Bernays. We'll get more into that. Maybe we can talk about that on a future show or something. But yeah, yeah. I appreciate you guys sticking around. God bless you. May his face shine kindly upon you. May his grace be there with all which you do. So long. Peace out. God bless y'all. Before I go too, I'll be back Monday. I think that'll probably be the only show I'm able to do next week because I'm going to a political conference in Cincinnati. But yeah, yeah, we'll be back on Monday, 8 p.m. Mountain Central Time, as you know, Monday through Friday. But again, thank you for watching. So long, peace out, and God bless y'all.